Dear students, hope you are great. Today we are going to take chapter 4, lesson 1, computation for resources. Computation. Think of some of the things animals and plants need, such as oxygen, food, shelter. All of these are resources, and some of them are in limited supply. There may not be enough of resource to meet the needs of organisms. They rely on them. This leads to competition. So first we should know the meaning of competition. What's meant by competition? Competition is a struggle among multiple organisms to obtain a limited resource like food, water, or shelter. For example, if you have dog, if here if there is a food, so we have dog A, dog B, both make a competition for to obtain or to take this food. This is mean of competition or fight between multiple organisms to obtain a limited resources. Limited resources like food, water, and shelter. It may be a group of sailfish competing with a group of sharks. It may be a group of sharks competing with each other. Adaptation. Over time, competition can lead to adaptation. So what's meant by adaptation? Adaptation is a characteristic that gives an organism a competitive advantage. So adaptation is a characteristic that gives an organism a competitive advantage. For example, like seeds in some species of pine tree, they have a seed like this, have cones, this called cones, that will stand the heat of forest fire. So this cone has a very important characteristic as it can stand a heat that come from forest fire. So this, if the forest will fire, what happen? These cones will overstand or withstand the heat that come from forest fire. A new generation of pine tree can sprout out and regrow the forest again. Another example, grass. This is a long grass like this. This grass have adaptation, can adapt. They have roots with a lot, can store food. So this grass have roots. These roots can store food for a long time. When animal eat these leaves, what happened to the roots? The plants use this energy or use this food that come from the roots into their stored food to quickly regrow again. This is called adaptation. So we have here two examples of adaptation: seeds or cones of the pine tree, that when a forest fire, what happened? This cone can withstand this heat that come that in forest fire and regrow again. And also grass. Another example, grass can store food in their roots, and when animal eat the leaves, what happened to the roots? It regrow again. This is called adaptation. So adaptation is a characteristic of that give an organism a competitive advantage. Reducing competition. Adaptation allows species to become specialized, which can reduce the amount of competition. Less competition can mean a better chance of survival. Example: wild beast and zebra eat different parts of grass plants. Oyster catcher used its long this reduced adaptation. Oyster catcher use these long beaks to open an oyster. The ruddy turnstone looks for crabs underneath rocks. These two birds can coexist without competition while living on the same beach because they are looking for different food. If these two girls live in one place, there is no competition. Why? As oyster catcher has long beak like this, look, long beak to open an oyster, while the ruddy turnstone looks for crabs. Look, this bird look for crabs. So both have a different or looking for a different food. So there is no competition between two birds. Ecologists, scientists who study the interaction between living and non-living things, describe the special role and place that species occupy as niche. So ecologists or scientists who study interaction between living and non-living things describe place where species occupy or where species live in as a niche. Competition for shelter. Many organisms compete for a shelter. Many organisms compete for a place, not for food only and water. Compete with or fight with to search for to give or to take this place or a safe place to live. Example: prairie dogs build connected tunnels or burrows. They retreat to their burrow when danger threatens. Other animals may take advantage of this. Owls and mice move in where they find safety. Snakes can move in too. Snakes may hunt prairie dogs in their burrows. So as prairie dogs build or has ability to make tunnels like this to live here. But what happened, or other animals may take disadvantage of this, like owls and mice, as can move in where they to find the safety, or can live here, and also the snake can live here. So this is a competition for a shelter or for a safety place. Competition and invasive species. Species can be introduced into an ecosystem. This can be by design or by accident. In some cases, a non-native species is harmless. It may even prove useful in the new environment. Many ornamental plants are not native to the region in which they are planted, so too are certain crop plants. However, some non-native species happens to be special well suited for the new ecosystem. They become an invasive species. So what meant by invasive species is a non-native species that grows out its native competitors. Example: the nomad jellyfish appear in the swarms of Mediterranean. It is a native to Indian Ocean. This jellyfish can inflict painful wounds on humans, so it's disturbed Mediterranean ecosystem. So again, what's meant by invasive species is a non-native species that grows out its native competitors. That's it. Thanks for watching.